Most companies think of cost reduction as a solo effort. You put an engineer on a project to optimize a design, a procurement officer to negotiate costs, and an operations lead to streamline manufacturing. Each person works hard, but often the results are inconsistent. Why? Well, real savings come from the interaction of ideas across different functions. Imagine this. An engineer suggests a design change that cuts material cost. Alone it seems great, but if operations hasn't been involved, the change might involve 2-3 more steps and slow production. Or without procurement's perspective, the material might end up costing more than expected since it's not commonly available. But when these minds work together as a team, solutions emerge that are practical, cost-effective, and implementable. That's the difference between occasional savings and repeatable cost reduction. In this video, I'm going to show you how to harness the power of multifunctional teams that create a system where cost reduction is continuous, not just an occasional win. You'll learn how to combine expertise, share knowledge, and turn diverse perspectives into a consistent source of product savings that keeps your company both competitive and profitable. In the end, you'll understand why cost reduction isn't about what one person can do, it's about what your team can achieve together. Now, this idea of team-based cost reduction is something I've seen play out time and time again. When cost reduction is driven by individuals, progress tends to be inconsistent. You might get a few wins, sometimes even significant ones, but they're difficult to sustain and even harder to repeat. I'm Heinrich Bartels with productcost.com, and I've worked with multiple functions and teams to reduce costs across different companies. In every case, the results have been stronger when teams were formed and empowered, compared to when cost reduction was approached by individuals. When teams have the right structure and motivation, the results speak for themselves. I've seen how opportunities emerge when people from different functions come together. Ideas don't stay isolated, they evolve. Often the biggest savings come from multiple insights that are combined, not just a single idea. At productcost.com, the focus is on helping you identify cost reduction opportunities, build that capability over time. We share practical insights, tools, and guidance you can apply directly in your day-to-day work. This is also meant to be a two-way conversation. The goal isn't just to present ideas, but to understand what's working for you and your teams approaching cost reduction in different environments. So please leave your comments down below. We're interested in your insights as to how you approach cost reduction in your organization. There's also a resource called A Practical Guide to Product Cost Reduction at productcost.com/reduce, designed to help you apply what you see here more directly. And that brings us to the first point, knowledge. If a team is going to consistently reduce costs, it needs a diverse and comprehensive understanding of how cost is built into a product, across design, manufacturing, sourcing, and beyond. Because while no single person has all of that knowledge, collectively the team does. So let's start there. How shared knowledge becomes a key driver of repeatable cost reduction. Knowledge of product cost is a collective capability. Cost knowledge is built from the combined expertise of every team member. Each individual brings a different perspective to cost drivers. They understand cost drivers from that unique perspective from where they are looking at that particular product within the organization. Engineering is going to understand the design trade-offs, the design constraints, and what it takes to get to an optimal design from their viewpoint. They're going to understand, if they look at the requirements, if they design the component in a certain way, they can be able to reduce the material cost or reduce certain aspects. They may not fully understand that certain parts drive labor cost and drive rework cost. Those are aspects that they're going to learn as they start having those discussions with quality and operations, that they need to make those trade-offs in a different way to get to the optimal design from a cost perspective. Procurement's going to understand your supplier capability, performance, and also pricing costs from a supplier. If you have poor quality with a particular supplier, that's going to drive your cost. If you have to do rework and you have scrap costs, or you have additional steps within your assembly and manufacturing process to address issues you're seeing with your supplier, that adds to the overall cost of your product. So it's not just the price and the PO that counts, it's the overall cost of that component as it affects the product cost. Operations is going to understand what the manufacturability of every component is, the tooling needs. If you need to build a lot of tools just because it wears through quickly, you may have to feed that back to the engineering team. When you do that, they can potentially redesign something or create that feature in a different way where the tooling wear is reduced such you don't have to change your tooling as much. Operations is also going to understand manufacturing efficiency and the process flow. And then quality is going to understand how much your rework and scrap costs are. With that knowledge, they can then look at how you can improve your processes or your design to achieve a zero defect goal. If you have that goal within your organization, that goal in itself will reduce your overall product cost as you start striving to get closer and closer to a zero defect. One aspect that's sometimes missed is that the supplier also has a fair amount of knowledge within your product in terms of cost. They understand what drives cost in the parts they build for you. If you tap into that knowledge, then you're going to have just the next leg up. You don't just want to do that with your procurement team. You want to connect their people directly with your engineers, with your quality team, such that there's a more direct communication, so that if the supplier feeds back an improvement, then the engineering team can immediately evaluate that, determine whether those changes can be made, and thus incorporate that and then reduce the cost by incorporating the suggestions made by the supplier. If you put the procurement team in the middle of it, there's a delay, and sometimes there's also a communication challenge, and it takes a much longer time to get that through, and sometimes doesn't get through, and that cost doesn't get lowered because it never gets done. The quality team can also work with the quality team of the supplier and look at what their rework and what their scrap costs are. If you can reduce the rework and scrap costs, ultimately you're going to affect the product cost as well, because you're paying for their scrap costs and their rework costs. So you want to try and reduce that, work with them, and try to get their costs down as well. You want to utilize your team's knowledge to turn over all stones. You want a more complete understanding of what drives product cost in your products. And with that, you have a much better identification of what the trade-offs and interactions are and what is needed to drive down product cost. This will help you have a more sustainable and effective cost reduction strategy. Blended ideas create new solutions. The best cost savings ideas are blended from the contributions of multiple individuals from different functions. Blending improves the effectiveness of each idea, and ultimately collaboration leads to solutions that no single person would identify alone. It eliminates isolated thinking by function, encourages open sharing of perspectives and constraints, and creates visibility across all cost-driving areas. An example of this is design for manufacturing, where the manufacturing team pushes back and instructs the design team that a certain way of designing a component is not amenable to producing that part, and there's a better way of designing parts where they're more amenable to being made. Once the design team adopts those principles and puts that into their designs, those parts become a lot more manufacturable, become more cost effective. I've seen an example of this myself, where I was in an organization, I was in engineering at the time, where the manufacturing team came back to us and told us that for sheet metal components we needed to adopt other methods than we were using at the time, that made assembly of the sheet metal components easier, welding easier, and how they were fixtured a lot easier. This was then adopted by the engineering team. We created best practices, and this was then structured around the feedback that we got from the manufacturing team. There was a bit of a cycle. As parts came through, they asked for improvements, and those improvements were made on a continuous basis, and this led to a much more cost-effective solution across the board, where even components made by machining were then turned into sheet metal components because that was more cost-effective. Individual ideas are refined and improved by other team members, as is shown by this design for manufacturing example. Different knowledge areas turn good enough into best-of-class solutions, and this leads to more practical and implementable solutions. One idea sparks additional ideas from others. It creates a compounding effect of innovation and expands the pool of potential cost-saving opportunities. This then creates a funnel of cost savings opportunities. If you have a funnel of cost savings opportunities, this gets to a point where you can't implement all of those cost savings ideas. You just got to start phasing. You got to start prioritizing which ones go first. That's a good problem to have, because now you get the better solutions coming in first, and you're continuously driving cost out of your products rather than doing it on a piecemeal fashion. Once you have that, you'll also find that certain ideas might percolate back and get improved and finessed to a point where they are more effective, and once those ideas become more effective, then they get prioritized higher and get pushed into the system. This all leads to a more creative and diverse solution. You have higher quality cross-functional ideas, you'll drive improved best practices, and you'll have the increased ability to uncover new hidden cost savings. Once you have a funnel of cost savings ideas, you are now starting what I would refer to as a repeatable cost reduction methodology. Using the knowledge and capability that's shared across your team, efforts continue as roles or individuals change. You're creating a repeatable process rather than just going after one-time wins. Ideas are generated through various functions and perspectives. Different methods of identifying cost savings are occurring in your organization, and you're getting a continuous flow of new opportunities because you have more contributors leading to more cost reduction ideas. You have a higher likelihood of finding those impactful opportunities, and this eventually just builds momentum over time. You can reinforce this by recognizing individuals and teams, similar to what you have for quality initiatives and safety initiatives. You can reward teams and individuals for efforts that they have successfully concluded and reward them in front of your organization. By doing this, you're starting to create a culture. You want a cost awareness culture that helps you integrate cost reduction into the daily thinking, decision making of your organization, that promotes a mindset of continuous improvement and aligns your team's behaviors with the long-term cost objectives of your company. By doing this, you'll have a repeatable and scalable cost reduction process with ongoing pipeline of savings opportunities that leads to the long-term competitive advantage of your company. To maximize the cost reduction efforts within your company, you need to educate your team. Your team needs to have the cost savings tools in order to succeed. You need to educate them what works and how to work together in achieving these cost reduction goals. This can be done by online training, by individuals who really understand cost reduction in your organization, and they would just provide regular training such that other individuals get to the same level that they are, or you can use third parties to help you augment that. Without this cost understanding, motivation to reduce cost is going to be limited. Only when team members feel empowered about what drives cost do they truly contribute. Understanding cost helps them prioritize high impact areas, guides efforts towards the most valuable opportunities, and reduces time spent on low impact activities. By developing the skills, it strengthens their ability to analyze and challenge cost drivers and develops a more holistic approach to cost reduction. You build their confidence in proposing new cost reduction ideas, and this needs to be done in combination with understanding what your business objectives are. They need to understand why it is that you're reducing cost and how that impacts your business. Cost needs to be seen as a component of profitability and competitiveness. This enables a more informed trade-off between cost, value, and performance, and helps your organization create a more robust organization that's not dependent on individuals, since you have a broader team that's been trained on how to reduce cost. This increases the consistency of decisions and actions related to cost reduction, and also provides for a stronger alignment between your team's actions and your business goals. As we bring this together, effective cost reduction isn't about a single idea or function. It's about how well your team operates across 4 key areas: knowledge, blended ideas, repeatability, and education. It starts with knowledge. No one individual sees the full picture of product cost. Engineering understands design trade-offs, procurement sees supply dynamics, operation knows manufacturing efficiency, and quality sees the cost of defects. When that knowledge is combined, the team gains a clearer view of where costs exist, enabling better decisions and uncovering hidden opportunities. From there, ideas begin to blend. The best solutions come from collaboration. One idea is refined and improved by others, evolving from good enough to something stronger. As ideas build on each other, you create a compounding effect that increases both the number and quality of cost savings opportunities. As this continues, repeatability takes shape. Cost reduction becomes a consistent process, not a one-time effort. Knowledge is shared, ideas come from multiple sources, and the team builds momentum, creating a steady pipeline of opportunities. Sustaining that system requires education. Teams need to understand what drives cost, where to focus, and how their decisions impact the product. With the right tools and knowledge, they become more confident and effective in driving results. When these 4 elements come together, cost reduction stops depending on individuals. It becomes embedded in how the team thinks, how decisions are made, and how products are developed. And that's the goal, not just reducing cost once, but building a team that consistently delivers results. To better understand how to identify where to reduce cost on existing products, look at the video above.